4,000 around the beginning of the month of July. But on the Monday markets, we see that they gained by 28.05 Ugandan shillings, closing the day with a 4,551.11 Uganda shillings market price. And that, of course, gives you the total performance there. The company has over 791 million outstanding shares and the market capitalization of 3.6 trillion. It deals in consumer goods, so we can say that with the competitors could be British American Tobacco, who also deal in the consumer goods or beverages sector. And their market capitalization for British American Tobacco is 736 billion, and their closing price was 15,000. And they have a year-to-date loss of over 50% of that price valuation. And exchange market, and of course they have competitors like National Insurance Corporation, like Centum Investments, and the like. Then moving down to Nation Media Group, and Nation Media Group came out on the other end of the gainers also, and Nation Media Group was a gainer who gained by about 3.7 shillings to close at 600.33 Ugandan shillings, and still a 0.62%, just like all the other cross-listed companies that were able to gain on the stock market on Monday. And Nation Media also hasn't had much activity on the market. There was zero traded volumes, but their shares outstanding are about 189 million shares. That bring their capitalization to over 113 billion Ugandan shillings. And then, of course, when we look at other counters on the market, we can look at the overall market that, of course, saw Bank of Baroda close the market at 85 Ugandan shillings with zero traded volumes, and British American Tobacco at 15,000 with zero traded volumes, and 322.55 shillings for Centum Investments at zero volumes that were traded, but a gain of over 1.98 Ugandan shillings. Cipla Quality Chemical Industries Limited at 70 cents. At 70 Uganda shillings, we see that she came in with a volume of over 4,000 shares that were traded on Monday. And Cipla Quality Chemicals definitely is one company I always want to advise you to invest in, because it's a pharmaceutical. It's the only pharmaceutical company, meaning it has a very good cause, manufacturing drugs, especially anti-malarials and anti-HIV drugs, but with very promising financial results for the financial year ended 2021. You can see that Cipla Quality Chemicals is a promising company. Of course, 2021 saw it break through losses that the company had been registering since listing back in 2017, and we see that for the very first time, Cipla registered a very good profit of over 70 billion, and this of course led to even them giving out a dividend that was worth about 1.5 Ugandan shillings per share this year. DFCU Bank down to DFCU Bank at 550 Ugandan shillings. DFCU didn't trade any volumes. However, DFCU last week held their annual general meeting, which was a virtual meeting, and these also discussed their financial results. However, they were unable to declare a dividend because of several reasons that, of course, the company was able to actually tell their shareholders about. But they closed the market on Monday with the price of 550 Ugandan shillings. East African breweries, we've seen them at 4,000 with no volumes. Equity Bank Limited at 1,000. They came out as gainers, but they still had no volumes. KCB Bank at 1,200. They also came out as gainers, but they had no volumes. And Kenya Airways at 124.28 came out as gainers without traded volumes. And MTN Uganda came out at a 4.72 loss, coming, of course, in 185 shillings closing price. Moving on to National Insurance Company. National Insurance Company came out with a 6 shillings closing price after trading a total volume of about, we see that National Insurance Company traded a total volume, didn't actually trade any volumes, but MTN traded about 1,800 shillings. And then Nation Media Group at 600 also did not trade any volumes there, while you can see Stanbic Bank at 21 shillings traded a volume of about 76,300 shares. Uganda Clays came in at 19 Ugandan shillings, and Wumeme at 200 after trading 2,100 shares. And of course, that brings us to the end of that market outlook. But in summary, we see that the day ended with a total of 84,700 shares. That was Monday. The traded coming to over 2.67 million shares, million Ugandan shillings that were able to be transacted. And the current market was driven to 21.4 trillion Ugandan shillings, and in aggregate only 4 Uganda Security Exchange equities participated in trading. Regarding the index performance, that is the Uganda Securities Exchange All Share Index, which is the benchmark index tracking the performance of all the listed equities. The index went up by 1.81 points, and that was a 0.15% points gain. And of course, closing the exchange with 1,245.42 points, which represents a 1-week gain of 0.17% and a 4-week gain of 8.74%, but an overall loss of 12.34%. Remember, indices for starters represent the aggregate performance of listed equities. So when we talk about the all share index, we are talking about the index that tracks the performance of all the Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities. And if you don't want to go into the detail of which pricings each company has, you can just look at the index. Really, it represents the of all the exchange listed equities. And then down to we see the local company index. We have 2 indices in Uganda. The number 1 index, the All Share Index, calculating performance of all the listed equities as a whole. But then we also have the local company index that calculates the performance of the local companies. And regarding this local company index, we see a decrease of 0.78%, down to 274.03 points, making it a 1 week loss of